For my next anime review, I'm doing the film Chainsaw Man, the movie reze arc. This anime film is done by Studio Mappa, and it is rated R. Now, before I get into my review of the film and what I think of it, I have to get something off my chest real quick. There is a YouTube channel called Film Threat. If you guys do not know, they did reviews for both the recent Demon Slayer film, and they also did a review for the Chainsaw Man movie. They did not watch anything beforehand, and they didn't even read any of the manga either. So they basically went in half-cock, basically were being lazy, and didn't do any prep work before doing their reviews. And I like them. I do think they do a good job a lot of the time, but in this instance, guys, those reviews were awful. Do not ever do that again. If you want to review an anime film, just do a standalone one. Chainsaw Man and Demon Slayer, these movies are a continuation from previous seasons, and you can't just go into them without watching something or reading the manga. And for the love of God, there was only 13 episodes in the first season of Chainsaw Man. You could have easily made some prep work, watch the full 13 episodes, take a day out. You could have watched it in a day or a weekend. You could have done it before the movie came out. Anyway, now on to my thoughts of what I thought about Chainsaw Man. I have read the manga and watched the first season of Chainsaw Man. I read the manga after I watched the first season, and after reading the manga, I now agree with a lot of fans' criticism on the first season. The tone and the color palette of the first season is completely different than the manga. I still like the first season of Chainsaw Man, but the manga is better. I really do think Mappa heard and listened to the complaints that the fans had. They actually did a much better job at sticking to the tone and the color palette for the reze arc. And I'm really glad they did, because they did. This is as good of an adaptation of this arc that I could have hoped for. The pacing for this film is much better, in my opinion, than the first seasons. The OST for this film is also better than the first season, in my opinion, as well. And the tone and comedy is much more on point in this film, and the movie matches to the manga. Power acts a lot more like her manga counterpart than she does in the first film. Power is deathly afraid of Makima, for good reason. If you've read the manga, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And for anyone who had the hots for Makima, you know what? I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you know what? Nope, not gonna go there. This film, and something else I gotta put out there, for any mainstream movie critics, you should be ashamed of yourselves. This movie is not a 3, it's not a 6. Anyone who rates the reze arc film below an 8 is a moron. This movie is so good. The action is fantastic. It is as frantic and chaotic as the manga, and I was really happy to see that. Reze herself is probably the highlight of this movie, and they got her pitch perfect. She is such a likable character in this film, and there is a reason why reze is a fan favorite. And that ending, God, that ending. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but for anyone who's read the manga, you know exactly where I'm coming from. Mappa knocked it out of the park with this one, and I will give them credit. They listened to the fans' complaints, and I have really no complaints with this movie whatsoever. Like I said before, if you are a fan of the manga, I think this will definitely earn your approval. My final score for Chainsaw Man the movie reze arc is a very high 9 out of 10. With no major complaints with this movie whatsoever. Not really even any nitpicks, if I'm going to be honest. And for anyone who was complaining about reze not having any nipples within the whole pool scene, well, you'll have to complain to the mangaka for that one, because that's actually how he drew it in the manga. Yeah, reze in that pool scene from the manga has no nipples. Before I filmed this, I went back, checked the volume where that scene was, and yeah, my suspicions were correct. There are no nipples in that scene, so I have no complaints. This movie is fantastic. If you haven't already seen this film, I can definitely recommend you go and watch it. But if you have not watched or read the manga, at least watch the first season before going into this movie. I don't want to hear any complaints from people who go into this movie and said, I don't even know what's going on. I did blah, 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 blah. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Same with any critics complaining about this movie. You as well, shut up. This is not for you. This is made for the fans of the manga, and by God, Mappa pulled it off. And for every animator that worked on this, you did a fantastic job. That's all from me. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of Chainsaw Man the movie. I don't know if this is gonna get really any traction or any views, but here I am. I wanted to put something out there, so let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the movie and what you thought of this review. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. This has been Ryder. I'm out.